DC. I'm sorry, DC. You're out of DC, right?
Thank you.
Is that DCI?
Okay, this is your transmission people again. I've asked.
Ben, cut in.
Sorry.
Lurch.
Just warning you.
Well, it's okay. It's your choice.
We can't walk away.
Sorry, sir, just to make you aware. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
Техническая проверка. 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126.
Good day. Just double checking our last minute translation booths, making sure everyone is getting everything as needed. Again, you should be having English in your English only modes. The floor will get both everything at the same time. On your headsets, it should be 00 floor, 01 should be English, and 02 should be Russian on your headsets. So again, just doing a couple last minute checks, making sure everything is going through as it should. Thank you.
Кремлевский пул, у вас все хорошо, все нормально? Камеры, покажите, пожалуйста, большой палец, что все нормально. Все, спасибо большое.
Good.
standard by that. That's going to be progress was made, and exactly what for. We wait to see a lot of questions. Now, we're going to have really awful for so many eyes focused on this, and they should catch up.
Here. Get it? Yeah.
Donald Trump, throughout dating back to his time as a businessman, watched it play out every time. A bit earlier today, he landed almost that time from their aircraft. They walked in that red carpet, shaking hands and rushing for about 15 minutes. And a total 50 seconds. Donald Trump had smiles and you just walked up on top of that platform where they were framed by American fighter jets. Four planes surrounded by helicopters flying overhead ultimately before they entered the presidential building. So a lot of this choreography is happening. Donald Trump is president. The one thing we don't know is what happens with that.
Okay. I just want to warn you that because I'm allowed back right instead of at my seat, if we get a 2 one, I'm going to have to sit down. I'm not going to be able to record the 2-minute break. Does that make sense? Yes. And so we're not running my package, is that what you're saying? That's okay, no, that's not what they're saying. They told this to me. Okay, so you come to me like right off the top of the hospital. You give it to us. Go sit down. I understand. Like they're not rushing themselves. So there's like
является в зале пресс-конференции, является к своим представителям президента. И кроме того, глава российского коллектива. Прямо сейчас, видите, уже на него набросились, но потому что...
Nobody's going live right now, but it's just yeah, we're aware. I'm
Mike. Off. You got to put the switch. Switch.
This, if this reporter's not ready to take action, I'll go.
Cell phones. Cell phones barely hanging in there.
Well, that's part of the problem. That is also all the live use. But also, Secret Service, they take one at a time. They can just zip us.
They were going to give us hardlines. They told us they were going to give us hardlines. Huh? They lied to us.
You need a flip phone? None of these three are. It's like running a train station blind.
I already read all of that. Colville. It's a 3G, 4G phone. Oh, yeah?
It'll work better.
Yeah, but
You don't have the adapter?
I can't break it now.
Oh,
I'm Bluetoothing into my thing, but thanks.
no worries. I usually do a USB-C hardwire.
Does that work on USB-C?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So do the new cell phones.
yeah. I do have that cable. I'm just in the middle of it now.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. The flip phones are a little, they're older, but they don't take as much bandwidth.
Where are you plugged in? Where's your line you plugged into?
What's that?
Yeah.
No.
Watch your back, mister. Sir.
Huh?
It's a losing fight. Robert, over here. Mark, how do you Bluetooth into the mixer? Adapter 3? Yeah, yeah.
I love
They're very good. It's these are down lose a lot as well. Yes, I can hear you. How is my signal? Okay, great. Yes, I am back. I'm still spotted. About 15 minutes ago, Americans and Russians were ushered into a conference room on either side of the aisle. Americans and Russians separated, empty podiums up ahead of us with pursuing the peace written in letters above the two lecterns. The senior staff of both Russians and the Americans have filtered in, they're sitting in the front row. So we're waiting some sort of notification that the pressure might begin. There's a sense of surprise there because I think we were waiting to hear that the 3-on-3 meetings initially would lead there would be a larger lunch for more of the staff and various representatives here, and that didn't happen. They decided to apparently decided to come out and do this press conference now. So just read into that what you will.
Our world. You see a switch over? Yeah, switch. Do you know what Wi-Fi is? There used to be one under this light maybe? They took our water. They took your water? Oh, that's right. They took our food and water. Okay.
side very neat on that view of it. Not going to address
I don't see it. Can't pour internet. West? Oh, west. Someone there. Come on, man. Nobody's really what? Someone
it's on his face as he's walking in. And kept on expression all the time. I'm sure that
Cat 5 goes straight back that way. So somewhere in that section. But at least you're arming holding it. I can't. None of us are skinny enough to crawl under this. That's where the blue cable goes to.
Sorry, repeat that? Oh, that wasn't me.
That's not pretty fun. Is that for Tony? For Tony? Yeah.
Okay, well then.
Mario says it's very good or something like that. I mean, I'll Gumby, but not that far.
Rachel dropped.
Come up to another wireless as well. I mean, we can definitely add him to that other thing.
Yeah, the other Wi-Fi is totally dead. Isn't working.
Hey, New York, how's this audio now? How's this audio with Kelly now? I need to go closer to her.
And he's back in there, sir. Okay. Well, hold position. So the cable didn't look long enough. I think it's over. Let's see, Hexa. Oh, the Hexa just came in. Caroline, Lutnick. Lutnick. Yeah. She may have to give up on this. Okay. Let's see you live.
Russian objectives to make it bigger than just Ukraine is very possible. When we get out some sort of peace, economic solution without progress on the ceasefire, I think American allies and Serbia are quite successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America and the President of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect. We had very thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the ocean, are close neighbors. So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said, "Good afternoon, dear neighbor. Very good to see you. In good health and to see you alive." I think that is very neighborly. And I think that's some kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island and the U.S. island. They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the U.S., and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military aircraft and other equipment under the Lend-Lease program. It was a dangerous and treacherous route over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian and the U.S. pilots. And there are 2 flags, the U.S. flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well there is such a memorial. There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. The Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries defeated common enemies together in the spirit of battle camaraderie and allyship that supported each other and facilitated each other. I'm sure that this heritage will help us rebuild and foster mutually beneficial and equal ties at this new stage, even during the hardest conditions. It is known that there have been no summits between Russia and the U.S. for 4 years, and that's a long time. This time was very hard for bilateral relations, and let's be frank, they've fallen to the lowest point since the Cold War. I think that's not benefiting our countries and the world as a whole. It is apparent that sooner or later, we had to amend the situation to move on from the confrontation to dialogue. And in this case, a personal meeting between the heads of state has been long overdue. Naturally, under the condition of serious and painstaking work, this work has been done in general. Me and President Trump have very good direct contact. We've spoken multiple times. We spoke frankly on the phone. And special envoy of the President, Mr. Woodruff, traveled out to Russia several times. Our advisors and heads of foreign ministries kept in touch all the time. And you know fully well that one of the central issues was the situation around Ukraine. We see the strive of the administration and President Trump personally to help facilitate the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. And his strive to get to the crux of the matter, to understand its history, is precious. As I've said, the situation in Ukraine has to do with fundamental threats to our security. Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots, and everything that's happening is a tragedy for us, a terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots the primary causes of that conflict, and we've said it multiple times, to consider all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we are prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress. Incidentally, when the new administration came to power, bilateral trade started to grow. It's still very symbolic. Still, we have a growth of 20%. As I've said, we have a lot of dimensions for joint work. It is clear that U.S. and Russian investment and business cooperation has tremendous potential. Russia and the U.S. can offer each other so much in trade, digital, high-tech, and in space exploration. We see that Arctic cooperation is also very possible. And our international context, for example, between the Far East of Russia and the West Coast of the U.S. Overall, it's very important for our countries to turn the page, to go back to cooperation. It is symbolic that not far away from here, at the border between Russia and the U.S., there is a so-called international date line. I think you can step over, literally, from yesterday into tomorrow. And I hope that we'll succeed in that. In political sphere. I would like to thank President Trump for our joint work, for the well-wishing and trustworthy tone of our conversation. It's important that both sides are result-oriented, and we see that the President of the U.S. has a very clear idea of what he would like to achieve. He sincerely cares about the prosperity of his nation. Still, he understands that Russia has its own national interests. I expect that today's agreements will be the starting point, not only for the solution of the Ukrainian issue, but also will help us bring back business-like and pragmatic relations between Russia and the U.S. And in the end, I would like to add one more thing. I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump is saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. That was very profound. And I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Ratcliffe, thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think, you know, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. That made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all, but we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces, who I know in many cases, other than that, whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers. You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good, productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that in the future. But let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Please. Go, let's get up there.
Down, please, sir, down, please, thank you.
They are moving the pool. They're rushing the pool out. All the followers of the advocates, because I can see them all moving. U.S. pool. Down. Thank you, press. Down.
Down.